Hey everyone, so in today's video I'm going to be finishing up my part 2 Q&A. I filmed the first one a couple of weeks ago and I'll leave it up in a card if you guys want to check it out. I asked you guys on Instagram if y'all had any questions for me and you guys responded with quite a bit. So I tried to get through what I could the first time and so I'm coming back now with the part 2. Sorry I'm just not getting around to this video. We just moved and our lives are like totally upside down right now. As you can see, I'm sitting in my new bedroom right now. Everything's still in boxes. I thought that this move would be a little bit easier, but I guess just because I'm pregnant and there's only so much I can do, you know, every single day as far as unboxing things and, you know, actually like settling into our new home, it's taking a little bit longer. So I wanted to film this video though, because I keep putting it off. So if you see me looking down, I'm just gonna be looking at my phone, answering the questions as I see them. The first question I see asks, how was it meeting Budget Girl? So meeting Budget Girl, honestly, the best way I can describe it is like, she was like meeting an old friend from high school, honestly. Like, even though it's the first time ever meeting her in person, I have talked with her, you know, over social media for years, you know, via YouTube or Instagram, Facebook, any of those things. And so when I met her, it was, there, you know, I guess you just kind of expect that things are gonna be kind of awkward when you first meet somebody, you know, that you've never actually met before in person. But I don't know, like when I met her, it was just, she was just totally cool. It was just not like awkward at all. Like I just felt honestly like I have known her for years. And it was just great. She was just so nice. And it was nice to be around somebody else who, you know, also does YouTube and kind of understands, you know, the aspect of that life, you know, and how you share online. And just, I don't know, it was just really, really awesome. We walked around for IKEA for like 3 hours. And honestly, if it weren't for me being pregnant, I could have spent all day with her. Honestly, like we could have just, like after IKEA, we could have hopped over to the mall or we could have done this or, you know, whatever. Like I could have spent the entire day with her. So it was really, really awesome. She is just in person exactly how you see in the videos. She's just very sweet. She's funny, she's just very genuine, and I love that she's so close to me now. So her and I can like meet up if we want to do collab videos or, you know, whatever. I think Budget Girl is awesome. She is just like the best person ever. So it was really great meeting her. Okay, so the next question is, what was your husband and Connor's reaction to all the new life changes? So I guess you're just kind of referring to, you know, the twins, and just kind of that whole process, like finding out that we were having twins. So I spoke briefly about my reaction whenever I announced that I was pregnant with twins, and I'll leave that video up in a card as well. But I was totally shocked. I just was blown away. Matt, however, he just was like, I don't know. It's like he was just totally like cool and calm, not freaked out at all. Like, he was just down, you know. I mean, that's like the best way I can say it. Like, I even remember afterwards, after the ultrasound, asking him kind of like, well, you know, like, what do you think? Like, oh my gosh. And he was like, this is great. I love babies. This is awesome. Totally cool. We got this. And I'm like, really? Like, I'm freaking out. Like, I think most people would just freak out, you know, and you're just so like cool and calm and collected. Like, how are you feeling that way, you know? But I just think that that's his personality, that he just handles situations better, I guess, than I do. And he was like, we got this. This is awesome. This is a great thing. And I was like, are you sure? Like, oh my gosh, you know? And after it sunk in, of course, I kind of caught up to where he was, you know, feeling like as far as being calm and cool and like, we got this and being confident. But my first reaction, I just was like, ah. And for him, he was like, oh, we got this. This is awesome. Let's start picking out names and this is great. Connor, on the other hand, we waited a little while before telling him, just because we found out so early on about the pregnancy and then about them being twins. We weren't really sure exactly like what kind of twins they were. I had an inkling that they were identical just because of the way they looked on the ultrasound, but we had to wait until certain appointments to get that confirmed because I found out like at 7 weeks. So we waited until, I guess, 12 weeks before we told Connor, which was really challenging because we really wanted to tell him, but you know, we knew that that was the best thing to do, which was to wait. But once we found out that they were identical twins, that they shared a placenta, and we knew that they were high risk, we decided again to wait until 12 weeks to tell Connor until everything kind of seemed to be flowing the way it was supposed to. And we just decided one night to tell him. And so we just sat him down and we said, you know, you've been wanting mommy and daddy to have another baby for a long time, and you've wanted to have a brother or a sister. Well, guess what? You're gonna have 2 of them, like at the same time. And he was so excited. He jumped up and was like, he did this little like squeal, like stomp his feet thing. Super, super sweet. Like, it was kind of one of those moments I wish I would have gotten on film, but sometimes I'm like, instead of filming it, like, you know, live for the moment, you know, and just kind of enjoy this moment for, you know, for what it is. But his response was so cute. I was like, ah, I should have filmed it. But he was so excited. Matt was just thrilled when he found out that they were boys, of course. Connor didn't really seem to care as much that they're what gender they were. I think that's something that he probably will care about later on. He'll realize that, like, oh, it's for a brother, it's more fun to have other brothers than it is little sisters, you know. So I think that he'll pick up on that later on. But yeah, they were excited. I was a little freaked out, but that was our reaction. Okay, so the next question is, do you have an idea of the nursery theme? I don't. I'm not very good at decorating, as you can see from like my bedding. I really don't know what I'm doing most of the time. Actually, this is not our bedding. This is just a desperate attempt to like make my little backdrop look cute. My real bedding is on the floor over there and it's horrible. I've got to get new stuff. I don't even know where to begin. But I don't have like themes for things, just because I'm really not good at that kind of stuff. I guess what I'm looking for more than anything is just simplicity. I want the room to be clean. I do prefer kind of like darker toned like furniture, you know, instead of like a white crib, you know, especially for boys. Like, I'd want like a darker color for the crib. We already bought a dresser, which is a darker color as well. I was even asking my husband last night, like, what type of like color he wanted to paint the nursery. And I was like, why don't we do like one wall this color and like one wall this color? And, you know, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know, like, I don't know what to do. So they probably won't have like a theme. It'll probably just be, here's the crib, here's the, you know, dresser. We'll paint one wall blue and the other wall will be like a nice, like the tan color that the house is already, you know, painted. And I'll just pick up some stuff that I find cute at Marshall's. I'll hang it on the wall. I'll get a cute little rug and it'll all kind of come together. So I wish I was real creative, like, oh, we'll do a cowboy theme, you know, but it would just look terrible if I did that. Okay, so the next question is, what was the biggest deciding factor in your decision to quit your job and stay at home with your boys? So probably the obvious one would be that I'm having twins. And so it would be really nice to be able to stay at home full time having twins. But honestly, like, I guess the real answer is that for a while I've actually wanted to come home. It's something that I feel like has been like, my heart has been calling for me to come home for a while. After having Connor, I just was under the assumption that I had to work and there was no way around it. But then I started listening to Dave Ramsey, and he is very pro, like, stay-at-home mom, kind of like improve your quality of life, have mom at home type thing. And when I started listening to him, I think it was just the first time that I realized that if I wanted to stay at home, I could. We just had to make changes in our life in order to make that happen. And so I just realized that once I came home, that our quality of life would just increase so much. And I've only been at home now for like 2.5 weeks, and just being home for 2.5 weeks has already been like, wow, it's like such a difference in just like our day to day. But yeah, I think it was just when I started listening to Dave Ramsey, and like I said, I just was convinced that I could stay at home, and it was something I could do, that we just had to, you know, stop being, you know, done with money, and we had to start actually being intentional about our choices. And so that's why for the last, you know, gosh, since we paid off our debt in 2014, I continued to work, but it was because we were, you know, using those funds from my income to go towards other things to kind of set us up to where we are right now. And it's great, honestly. Like, if you would have asked me, like I said, when I first had Connor, like, oh, are you gonna stay at home? I would just be like, oh, there's no way. Like, I have to work, are you kidding? But I just realized that, you know, I was basically working to pay, you know, my car note and our credit cards and our mortgage and things like that. That we could eliminate those payments, and then I could stay at home with my family. So that's why I'm so passionate about Dave Ramsey, just because how much his teachings have changed our lives. So the next question is, do you plan on eventually going back to school once the twins are born? So yes, I want to go back to school so bad. I actually was attending classes at the beginning of this past semester, but then when I found out I was having twins, that they were high risk, and it was very uncharted territory for me. I didn't want to risk anything because I was working full-time, and I wasn't going to school full-time, but I was taking 3 upper level courses, which were quite challenging in the evenings, and so I just didn't want to overload myself. I decided to withdraw from those courses for that semester to really focus on this pregnancy and just getting through the season of life, because right now my job is to produce healthy, happy babies. And so I withdrew from those courses, but it was early on in the semester to where I could get my refund for everything, and it didn't go like on my transcript, so it worked out. But I would say probably, I don't know, I can't predict the future. I would love to say 18 to 24 months after the twins are born, that kind of like once we get like a rhythm to everything, hopefully I can go back to school, and make that work. It's something I really want to do. I'm very passionate about finishing up my degree. I don't have that much left before I finish, and so it's just something I really want to like just get through. So hopefully I can make that happen. Okay, so the next question is pros and cons to living in Texas. She says we may have the opportunity to move there from Canada. So cons is that it's very hot in the summertime, like super hot. We have high humidity here, so it's like, you know, on days where you have like 100% humidity and it's 90 degrees, it's like hot. Like you can't be outside hot. Unless it's like you're taking breaks, coming in and out, like cooling off, like getting in the AC, things like that. So that's definitely probably the biggest con, is that it's just, it can just be horrible. If you have curly hair like myself, which I just straighten it, but your hair can be like a frizz ball. Like I'll straighten it, but if I went outside with my hair like this right now, it would just because of humidity and the heat. So there's that. But there's lots of pros. I mean, Texas is huge. We have a huge metropolis cities here. We have Houston, we have Austin, we have Dallas, we have San Antonio. You know, there's so much that Texas has to offer. Where I live on the Gulf Coast, so one of the cons, I guess, of that is that sometimes we get hurricanes, which, you know, it's like every few years we might get like a major hurricane. We actually just moved about an hour north. We're still in Houston, but an hour north, so we were right on the water where we were, and Hurricane Ike was bad. Like we, for 2 weeks, didn't have power. We did have running water, but it was like cold showers and like no electricity. Everything was plugged into a generator. Cooking like we had a little cassette stove, because at the time we had an electric oven. Once we got our generator, we were able to plug that in, and you know, so just things like that, it was like, that was quite challenging. This entire area was wrecked pretty bad, but you know, obviously we recovered from that. But you know, if we have another hurricane that comes through in a couple of years, you know, people have to deal with that again. So that's a con. But you know, at the same time, living on the Gulf Coast, we have the beaches, and you know, that's really fun if you want to go do that. Or if you want to go north about an hour, we have national forest and, you know, really pretty scenery. If you want to go even further north, like to Waco, you know, that's just more like a hill country type setting, where it's just really pretty. So we have rivers, we have lakes. I mean, Texas definitely has a lot to offer. Okay, so the next question is, do the people in your life challenge the Dave Ramsey philosophies? No, I don't think so. I mean, you know, when we first started Dave Ramsey, I definitely was like trying to get everybody on board, and I was like super excited about it. But once I realized that people weren't really biting, and that they weren't really interested in Dave Ramsey, I backed off. It's something that I'm very passionate about, but you know, I'm not gonna try to, you know, shove down someone else's throat. It would be the same if it were like some really great new diet that I found, that I was like, well, I lost 20 pounds on the side, so you should do it too. Either people are gonna do it or they're not. So I introduced him to everybody that I know, but again, certain people, you know, either took the information and did something with it, or they didn't. And so then I just left it at that. I don't really bring it up anymore to people, like certain people that I know that are not interested in it. I've gotten teased a little bit, like here and there, like in a very appropriate, like haha, you know, manner, but nothing that I'm really bothered by, because I just know that what we're doing works for us, and I'm happy about that. And everybody has their own opinions about things, and personal finance is just that, it's personal. So if, you know, people want to, you know, use credit cards, or they want to finance cars, I don't care. It's their life and they can do whatever they want. And I support that. And they support what we do, and so it's a very healthy mutual understanding. Okay, so the last question I'm going to answer to kind of wrap up this video is, how long will you get off work when the twins come? So I've talked about this a little bit, you know, before, but I'm actually not going to be working anymore. I quit my job, and I'm going on like 2.5, 3 weeks of being at home full time, and it's awesome so far. But I plan on, within the next 5 years, going back to school, finishing up my degree in elementary education, and when the twins are in kindergarten, returning to work that year. So I hope that's how it turns out. I can't predict the future. That's kind of the goal that I'm working towards. But I feel like I just want to be at home for the next 5 years to be with them. You know, again, it just depends on life and how life, you know, turns out for us. That's kind of my plan. Go back to school, finish up my degree, go to work when they turn 5 and they're in elementary school, hopefully work at the same school that they attend, and that way I can be at home when they're at home, as well as Connor, of course. He'll be in junior high at that point, which is insane. But yeah, I'm hoping to be able to finish up my degree, go back to work, and do that within the next 5 years. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this part 2 Q&A, and I'll see you in the next video.